How do we get love? Where do we go to find this incredible human? Dating is supposed to feel fun, but why? Why is it so frustrating? The reason dating is so challenging is because many people are showing up to the dating scene with unhealed parts of themselves. They're not really taking the time to do their inner work and show up in alignment. So what's happening is they're not being intentional, they're not being authentic, they're not being transparent. And so what actually happens is this transaction. I'm gonna trade my wound for your wound. I'm gonna trade my pattern for your pattern. I'm gonna trade my limiting belief for your limiting belief. So there's this transaction that's happening that's coming from unhealed parts of ourselves. But if we actually took the time to do the work and get into alignment, dating and relationships could be a place of growth where you're elevating each other, growing with each other, transforming with each other. Oh, thank you guys. Welcome. I'm Neelam, the founder of Integrity Dating, and I'm so excited and honored to be on the Mind Valley stage today because I get to talk to you about something that drives all of us. In fact, it drives everything, and that's love. To give and to receive love. To have our hearts connected with another human. And it doesn't matter what country you're from, because I know we have a lot of countries represented here. It doesn't matter what religion or what culture you're from. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire living in a lavish house or a global nomad with a backpack living paycheck to paycheck. The one thing that we all share is our deep desire for love and connection. So the million-dollar question is, how do we get love? Where do we go to find this incredible human? How do we show up to attract this incredible heart-centered human? It's a million-dollar question, isn't it? But before we answer that, we need to figure out first how to navigate the dating scene. Gotta love the dating scene, huh? You swipe left, you swipe right, you download apps, you delete apps, you analyze those text messages. What did he mean by that? What does she mean by that? Dating is supposed to feel fun, but why? Why is it so frustrating? I can tell you for me, I got back into the dating scene after a 10-year relationship, and I did the same thing. I got on those apps, I started swiping left and right, and it was so overwhelming. For me, I felt like online dating was this buffet of options, but I was hungering for one real connection. People were not showing up authentic. They were not really showing up as their true self. I was getting ghosted left, right, and center. People would show up, they'd text message me, and the next thing you know, they disappeared. And I was like, what is this? And it actually didn't feel good. It left me feeling like an option. Has anyone felt like that? Yeah? Yeah? You're not alone. And it starts to make you think, wait, is there something wrong with me? Why am I attracting these kind of people? Or where are all the conscious men? Where are all the conscious ladies? Or am I ever going to find love? Does anyone resonate with that? Yeah? Let's hear it a little louder. You resonate with that? Yeah. Well, you're not alone. I work with people from around the world, and this is a common sentiment. But why? Why is dating feeling like that? But I have some good news for you, that dating can actually be very simple, easy, meaningful, and fun. And what if I told you that you can actually show up as your true self and attract an incredible heart-centered partner, a partner in growth, a best friend that lights your heart on fire? How does that sound? Yeah? And what if I told you that you could actually honor your time and energy and know someone more in 3 dates than 3 months and save your precious time? Doesn't that sound good too? Well, you can, and today my intention is to show you how to date consciously and attract heart-centered partners and to change the dating game, because it's time that we change this dating game, don't you think? Yeah. So we're gonna do that. And before we do, I just wanna share that the world is actually ready for a conscious approach to dating. You know, for the last few years, we've experienced unprecedented times. COVID not just changed how we date, it actually changed why we date. And the pandemic forced us to go inwards and remove all the noise and all the distractions and to really think about what matters to us. And guess what? A lot of us are realizing that the purpose of life is love. Let's grab this. There we go. And the purpose of life is love. In fact, there was a Harvard study that showed that close human connections are the #1 predictor of happiness, even more so than money, fame, IQ, genes. It's human connections, and I'm not surprised. I was actually at a conference last month, and the CEO of Tinder was there, and she was sharing current dating trends. And she shared that there's a trend right now towards more meaningful connections and slow relationships, meaning deeper conversations. And again, not surprising. We as a collective are hungering for real connection. We've experienced more loneliness in the last few years than ever before. And it's not just the singles in this room, it's also a lot of couples who've been married in long-term relationships. How many of you know a lot of couples that might have fallen apart during the pandemic? People that you thought were going to be there together forever, yeah. And then you have these singles who have been perpetually single, suddenly find love. It's been fascinating to watch what's going on. You know, for years, we've been like standing behind this screen, connecting virtually. And now finally, we have the opportunity to step out from behind that scene and to create a new story for ourselves of how we're going to show up in life and love. So my question for you today is, how will you show up? My mission is to create a global movement in conscious dating, and I want to help 1 billion people step into love, starting with you. So can I get all the single people to stand up in the room? All right, all the single people. I want you to just take a moment and look around. Check each other out. You have full permission to flirt right now. Connect with each other. You're not looking at anyone, my dear. I want you to look at someone's eyes. I want you to smile. Full permission to flirt today, this morning. Yeah, don't you love that? What better place than here to find a like-minded soul? In fact, there are so many couples that come out of Mind Valley. I actually hosted a speed dating event last week, and we had 2 romantic sparks come out. Yeah, so I'm hoping to create some sparks with you guys today, and even this afternoon we have a speed dating event. You're all welcome to come. So again, continue to look and gaze at each other's eyes. All right. Now I have a question for you, singles. For those of you who've ever experienced frustration with the dating scene, if you've ever felt like, oh God, I hate dating, I don't like it, it doesn't feel good, it sucks, I want you to remain standing. For those of you who think, hey, it's been fabulous, I like it, no problem, I've enjoyed it, have a seat. Okay. Take a look around. Everyone, just have a quick look around. Look how many people are standing. It's a lot of people. And my goal is to get all of you to be sitting at one point. But I just want you to also notice all the incredibly beautiful women in this audience standing. Look around. Look at all the handsome, strong men that are standing. There are so many special people in this room. There are people in this room that have changed lives. There are people in this room that have built empires. There are people in this room that have raised families and that are helping others. There are people in this room that are committed to growing and to personal growth. There are awesome humans standing up right now, just like you, all around you. So the question is, why is dating so difficult? There's so many incredible humans. We all want love, right? Yes. Yeah. Have a seat. Let me share with you what is actually happening. So the reason dating is so challenging is because many people are showing up to the dating scene with unhealed parts of themselves. they're not really taking the time to do their inner work and show up in alignment. So what's happening is they're not being intentional, they're not being authentic, they're not being transparent. And so what actually happens is this transaction. I'm going to trade my wound for your wound. I'm going to trade my pattern for your pattern. I'm going to trade my limiting belief for your limiting belief. So there's this transaction that's happening that's coming from unhealed parts of ourselves. But if we actually took the time to do the work and get into alignment, dating and relationships could be a place of growth where you're elevating each other, growing with each other, transforming with each other. Doesn't that sound amazing? Yeah, absolutely. Because the truth is, love and dating are an inside-out job. And every relationship that you have in your life reflects the relationship that you have with yourself. Absolutely. So once you set that foundation, once you get that sorted, you set an extraordinary foundation for every other relationship in your life. In fact, one of my favorite poets, the Sufi poet Rumi, said, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you've built against it. Isn't that so accurate? Yeah, and that's the work that we do with Integrity Dating. We go deep here and we remove those blocks to love and help you drop from your head to your heart so you can date from a place of alignment and you can show up in life and love in integrity. All right, so you're probably wondering, who is this girl on this stage? And some of you might be thinking, oh, she probably had it easy. Neelam, oh, she must have had the best dating life, must have been so easy for her up there. That is far from the truth. So on the outside, things are pretty good. You know, I was a television presenter. I worked for networks like CNN, ESPN, Discovery Channel. I got to interview really cool people around the world. Athletes, celebrities, spiritual leaders like the Dalai Lama. I'm also an accidental beauty queen. And I say accidental because I ran for a pageant to win a free trip. And that turned into me winning Miss Canada. And then I went to Miss Universe. And I was a finalist at Miss Universe. And it was pretty cool. Thank you. But it was pretty cool because it was the first time they had an Indian woman represent the country. So I think it was such an honor to have women of diversity and a minority to win that. So that was really cool. So, thank you. So on the outside, things look pretty fabulous. But on the inside, it was a completely different story. I felt empty inside. In fact, my self-worth had taken such a beating from past heartbreaks and from being part of an industry that was so harsh that I actually didn't know how to heal. I realized I didn't know how to love. The truth is, no one ever taught me how to love. Let me ask you a question. Where did you guys learn how to love? Where'd you learn how to love? Your mother, yes. Anyone else? Yes?
My daughter taught.
Your daughter taught you how to love. Beautiful. Anyone else? Disney, yeah. And yourself?
My grandmother.
Your grandmother. Right, so let me tell you where I learned how to love. So if you were like me, that's little Neelam, I learned how to love from my family. Those are my parents. My parents were immigrants from India, moved to Canada to build a great life. They had 4 kids. They were really busy, and we had a lot of cultural differences as well. So although I love them, they weren't necessarily the best role models for love. That's actually a picture of me and my sister. My brothers aren't there, and that was at the Taj Mahal, the monument of love. So then I thought, okay, where else could I have learned to love? Well, media, right? You said Disney, Hollywood, overly sexualized, yeah? And how about Bollywood? I grew up on Bollywood. Any Bollywood fans in here? Bollywood is complete fantasy, overly sensationalized. So not the best place to learn how to love. So where I really learned how to love was through heartbreak. Picking up the pieces of my heart one by one, putting them all together, turning my wounds into wisdom and my pain into power. Heartbreak and healing were the greatest teachers of all. In fact, I like to say that I have a bachelor's in heartbreak, a master's in relationships, and a Ph.D. in healing from the School of Life, and let me tell you, it was well earned. And I actually want to share with you now something that I call a journey back to myself, which was actually my healing journey, and it was really profound. It was the closest thing that I had to a near-death experience, and it completely changed the trajectory of my life. You guys want to hear it? Yeah? All right. So it was right before my 40th birthday, many years ago, and I decided to have a last-minute trip from Istanbul to Mumbai. I was working as a television presenter in Istanbul, and at that time, there was a lot of political turmoil in Turkey. There had been 3 bomb attacks around that time, so it was a pretty a tense time. So I booked this last-minute flight, and I got on that plane, and I felt like, wow, this could possibly be the last day of my life. That plane, something surreal happened on it. So I got on there, and about, I think, an hour into the flight, suddenly the plane started shaking in a way I've never experienced before, that I was actually grasping onto my chair. And then the lights started flickering. Have you ever been on a plane when the lights started flickering? I haven't. I fly a lot. I've been flying hundreds and hundreds of flights. So then the lights started flickering. And then the sound. Something happened with the sound. This really loud sound started happening. And at one point, I actually walked to the bathroom and I fell. That's how bad the turbulence was. And there was something in me. I was like, oh my God, this is going to go down. So I went back to my seat, and the strangest thing happened. For about 4 or 5 minutes, my brain kicked into this linear thinking, and my first instinct was to pick up my phone and think, okay, if this plane goes down, my father's not going to know where my body is. So I pressed send on my itinerary, and I thought, maybe Wi-Fi will kick in, and he'll get this, and he'll know where I am. And then I wrote my will. I've never written a will before. My bank account numbers came to me, so I started typing them all in there. They must have been there subconsciously in my mind, and I wrote that. And then I wrote a goodbye note, and I thought, okay, if this plane goes down, I'm going to press send. Thankfully, the plane did not go down, and I landed in Mumbai, hugely grateful for my life. But I realized in that moment that the universe had given me this huge wake-up call right before my 40th birthday. Doesn't that happen when they shake you up? Because what I had written at the end of my life in that goodbye note was not how I was actually living my life. So at the end of my life, in my goodbye note, all I cared was about love and relationships. This universe of people, my parents, my siblings, the men I had loved. But for the last decade, I was actually running from love, breaking up relationships, chasing fame, success, travel, all the stuff that actually didn't even matter to me at the end. And I had this huge awakening in that moment that the purpose of my life is love. And I made a commitment that day to live a life of love, to do work I love, and to spread love. My heart chakra literally opened like this. So I landed in Mumbai, my partner didn't know what hit him. Big love bomb. And shortly after that, I quit my high-profile career as a television presenter. I moved to India to be with my partner of 10 years, and I found out that he was out of integrity with me, and he was not being honest in our relationship. And I was devastated, heartbroken, especially after having that huge awakening. And my heart had just shattered into a million pieces, and I didn't know what to do. Has anyone ever experienced heartbreak? Yeah? Yeah. And that set me on a very deep healing journey, a profound journey that I like to call the journey back to myself. For the next few years, I learned from leading minds on the planet about love, relationship, and happiness. From monks in Bhutan to shamanic healers to world-renowned psychologists, I dived deep into Vipassana and meditation. I was really seeking and wanting to heal and understand, what is this thing called love? How do you get relationships right? And it was during that time I had this massive transformation. And I realized it wasn't just my partner that was being out of integrity with me. I was out of integrity with me. I had betrayed myself. I stayed in a relationship that I knew wasn't serving my highest good. I put my career on the back burner to support someone else's. I wasn't listening to my inner guidance. You know that voice when you know something's wrong and you know that there are red flags, but you don't pay attention? I wasn't expressing my truth when I felt it because I didn't have the courage at that time. So the truth is, it wasn't just that person who was out of integrity. I was out of integrity with me. And as you're hearing this, maybe some of you are recalling a time that you may have been out of integrity with yourselves in a past relationship. Yeah? So I'd love for us to just take a moment now. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And I want you to recall a time where you may have been out of integrity. Was there a time where you didn't express your truth? Or a time where you put your life on hold for someone else? Or maybe you crossed a boundary or didn't assert a boundary that was important to you. Or maybe you were the one who was not faithful and you lied or cheated or did something out of integrity. I want you to really just go deep in your heart and remember a time where you were not in integrity. And I want you to know that it's okay. You're not alone. We have all been out of integrity with ourselves. But here's the thing, the moment that you look at it, the moment that you bring awareness to it and acknowledge it, you can release it. And you can choose to show up in a completely different way. I'd like you to take a deep breath and open your eyes and look to the person beside you and give them a really big hug for acknowledging something so deep. Yeah. And if you feel called to share what just came up for you, I'll give you a minute right now to share. It's a safe space, a safe environment to share. And you probably never shared this with someone ever before. All right. Can I bring you all back for just a moment? First of all, I want to congratulate you all for looking and acknowledging that, because it's a big thing, isn't it? Right? Did everyone see something or a time when they were out of integrity? Yeah, a lot of us, absolutely. So what does it mean to be in integrity? So to be in integrity means to be whole and complete, within yourself and in alignment with your truth. It's when your words, your thoughts, and your actions are congruent. And you're the final authority of your life. You don't look to others because you're in alignment. So when I felt whole and complete within myself, and I felt like I was back in integrity after that healing journey, I was ready to finally date. So I head back to Toronto, and I did what everyone does. I picked up a phone, downloaded an app, and I started swiping. And remember, I was out for 10 years, so a lot changed. And so I was swiping left, swiping right, and I had shown up intentional, authentic, transparent, looking for a soul partner, a life companion, a partner in growth, looking for love. And guess what happened? People were showing up, like I mentioned, unintentional. They didn't know what they wanted. They didn't even know what their values were. They were ghosting, and they were, just texting for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time, wasting time, and then disappearing. And I was like, you know what? The world is ready for a conscious approach to dating, and I'm going to change it. And Integrity Dating was born. So, I should put this here for you guys so you can see what it means. So, Integrity Dating is a course, and I've basically taken all the wisdom that I've learned and I put it in that. But what Integrity Dating does, it really changes how you show up. It's an inside-out approach to love. I like to say it's where personal growth meets the dating world. And it's not about seeking the one. It's actually about becoming the one first and then sharing your energy with another. It's about showing up intentional, authentic, and transparent, and being vulnerable enough to actually open your heart. It's about having conscious conversations and asking meaningful questions so you can dive right in and know very quickly if the person in front of you is someone that you want to go forward with, or, you know what, we're not really aligned. And when you integrity date, you figure this out pretty quickly. In fact, I say you can know someone more in 3 dates in 3 months, and I'll share how with you in a bit. But the reason this is important is because you want to honor your precious time and energy. And you want to honor their precious time and energy. And if they're not right for you, you release them so they can find their love, and you release the energy and the space in your life so you can call it into your life. And integrity dating, what it does is it makes life and dating pretty simple. Because every time you have a question mark, you know those question marks, and you call your girlfriend, you're like, hey, what did he mean by this? Or you call your guy friend, hey, you know what do you think about this text? When you integrity date, you don't have ambiguity or question marks, because anytime anything comes up, you ask the person, because you have the skills now and you're rooted in a strong foundation of self-love and worthiness. And you know how to have conscious conversations, so you just ask. Wouldn't it be so much easier if we just asked and expressed what we felt? Yeah. But isn't it so fascinating that we're taught to be and do something completely different in the world? You know, dating advice out there focuses on what to text a guy, or when to call a girl. After how many dates should you call a girl? Or what to wear to look really sexy and flirt, right? That's the kind of dating advice that we get. How many of you have ever written a text, deleted it, written it again, showed a friend, and then sent it to a guy or a girl that you liked? Yeah, come on, I've done it. We've all done it. I'm sure we've all done it. It's ridiculous, you know? It really is. Because that's not what dating is about. Dating is not about what you wear, what you text, or when you call. Dating is actually about connection, communication, and the missing piece, alignment. That's what dating is about. And I'll tell you, it's not easy to integrity date. It takes courage and boldness to integrity date, because it's going to call for you to step into the highest version of yourself and date from a place of alignment. You have to express your truth and take radical self-responsibility for your love life, because you are the CEO of your love life, no one else. You're a sovereign being, and you need to stand powerfully in your worthiness and be fearless in the face of rejection, because the truth is there's going to be a lot of rejection when you're on this path, because people are not going to be able to meet you where you're at. But that's great. It's a fabulous filtering system. It really is great. So you're going to start looking at rejection in a totally different way. You're like, oh, we're not in alignment. Our values don't meet. Our visions are not aligned. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to clear the space for someone else. Isn't that great? It takes courage. You don't want to take that personally. When you integrity date, you look at your life as sacred and relationships as divine unions or divine connections, not meaningless encounters. People are not options. People are human, and we all want love. We need to start treating each other that way. And when you integrity date, you honor your precious time and energy, because that's all you got. Remember my plane story? All I had was that time. I thought it was the last day of my life. And the most important thing is you honor yourself for the incredible divine being that you are. So it takes courage and boldness. You guys think you're up for the challenge? Oh, that doesn't sound like you're up for the challenge. Can I hear a little? Okay, are you up for the challenge? Do you guys want to know how to integrity date? Let me hear the guys for a moment. I want to hear the guys roar. Because I heard Juanpa shake up the house the other day. So I want to hear some men roar in here. Men, are you ready to integrity date? Yeah, one more time. Men. Oh, I like that. Let's do that one. The Who. Men, are you ready to integrity date? Yeah, one more. Another one. Women, how sexy is that? Okay, can we just have a few more of those and then we'll get the women all charged up? Okay, go for it, men. All right, okay, I think we're gonna take a, now ladies, can I hear the ladies cheer for the sexy men in the house? Yeah. All right, okay, so now we can begin integrity dating. So there are 7 integrity dating pillars, and these are the pillars for an extraordinary relationship with yourself, which is the basis of an extraordinary relationship with another. And when you show up in dating, I really want you to have these as the foundation. We're not going to get a chance to talk about all of them today, but we will touch upon some of them. And so the first integrity dating pillar is self-love. Christina just spoke to you about self-love. It's the foundation. Integrity, authenticity, communication, vulnerability, energy, and surrender. It's such a different dating list than you see with all the dating advice out there versus what to text, what to wear, when to call. Very different, isn't it? All right, so let's dive into one of these pillars. Let's talk about integrity for just a moment. One of the core things about integrity is to know what your values are. What do you value most? Who are you? Who are you after the heartbreaks that you've gone through? Who are you after all the stuff you've been through? Who are you today after Mind Valley you, after all the things that you've learned? What are your values? What is your relationship vision? When you're in integrity with yourself, you know who you are, and you express it. So important. And the other part is you're intentional. Intention is everything. Your intention may be to find a life partner. Or your intention may be to find a friend. Or your intention may to have a casual relationship. It can be whatever it is, but the most important thing is to be clear in what your intentions are and to express them early on to your dates. Because what happens when somebody who's looking for some fun and casual encounters meets somebody who's looking for the love of her life and wants to get married and have babies, and they date? And they don't talk about that on the first date, and they don't talk about it in the first week, and they don't talk about it in the first month, and they don't talk about it in the first 3 months, and it comes up several months later, somebody gets heartbroken. And a lot of time has been wasted. So it doesn't matter what your intention is. All intentions are honored here, but it's about expressing what your intention is to the person because they deserve to know. And so do you. So be very intentional. Know your values, know your vision. Be in integrity with that. And let's talk about authenticity for a moment. What does it mean to be authentic? To be authentic means to be your true self, to be standing in your power and to let yourself shine. But so many of us, myself included, have walked in the world wearing masks on. You know, I know for the last few years we wore these COVID masks. Let's just use that as an example, because we haven't just been wearing those for 2 years. That's just the physical mask. We've been wearing them for our whole lives. You know, some of us have been wearing this mask, pretending to be not good enough, because we had an incident when we were a child and we believed that we're not good enough. Some of us wore a mask thinking, hey, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not attractive enough. You might have wore a mask thinking, you know, and maybe I don't know, maybe I don't know how to date, or, there's so many masks that we've been wearing. And these masks have come to us from our families, our friends, the media, from society. And I just want to invite you to take off these masks and ask yourself, she wants to rip it off. Rip off these masks. I actually do that with my course. I pull them off. Take off these masks and show up as your true self. Who would you be? Who would you be if someone told you that you weren't that? Really step into who you are and remove those masks. And the reason it's really important is that relationships are mirrors. Every relationship that you have in your life mirrors the relationship that you have with yourself. I want you to let that sit for a moment. Relationships are mirrors. Think about this. Think about a time when you had an amazing relationship. How are you feeling at that time, and how are you showing up? Were you in a great place in your life? Were you being your true self? Were you showing up and expressing? And you reflected that in a beautiful relationship. Think about a time when you didn't have such a great relationship. How were you showing up then? What did you attract? Relationships are mirrors. So it's so important for you to stand in your true self and be authentic, because if you don't, what are you attracting? You're not going to be attracting someone who's also being authentic. So it's such an important thing to consider. And there's a powerful question that I want to share with you. And if you leave today, this is probably the one most important question I would invite you to write down. And the question is, what in me attracted you? Think about it for a moment. What in me attracted you? What in me attracted you? This is a very, very empowering question, and this question demands radical self-responsibility. And when you integrity date, you ask this question because you're not a victim. You're the hero of your story. You're the CEO of your love life. And so when you're dating, and you're on a date, and you're across a guy you might not like that much, you're like, wait, my God, he's kind of strange. Instead of judging the person, I want you to take a moment and be like, have a little self-inquiry moment. What in me attracted you? Did I not listen to my guidance? Did I cross a boundary? Am I not honoring my truth? What's going on here? What in me attracted you? And the same goes for a great experience. If you're with someone and you're having an amazing relationship, like, oh my goodness, what in me attracted you? I want to do more of that. This question is so amazing because you can use it in your dating life, but you can also use it in every aspect of your life. Your career. What in me attracted this incredible job opportunity? What in me attracted this stage at Mind Valley? What in me attracted that? Look at yourself, because you're attracting everything that you call in, and take full, radical self-responsibility for it, because only you can change it. It's never the other person. It's always you. And relationships and life are a mirror. So really really look at that and to turn it back to yourself. Does that resonate for you? Yeah. Woo. All right, so let's move into another profound topic, which is communication. The foundation of a relationship, right? So I believe that conscious communication leads to conscious relationships, and superficial communication leads to superficial relationships. Absolutely. And when you integrity date, what we do is we have conscious conversations. And the whole point of having conscious conversations is so you can dive right in early on and ask meaningful questions so you can determine whether the person in front of you is aligned to your values and vision. And if they are, you proceed. And if they aren't, you thank them and you wish them the best. And the beauty of having conscious conversations is that it sets the stage for a very powerful connection. So how do you have conscious conversations? 2 ways. You ask meaningful questions, and you create an invitation instead of interviewing the person. So, for example, what are meaningful questions? Meaningful questions are questions that are going to help you determine who this human is. What is this person all about? What are their values? What do they believe in? What makes them excited? Who are they? What are their intentions? What do they want? You know, it gives you some indication of their heart and soul. Non-meaningful questions are external. Hey, the weather in Tallinn, it's been raining a lot. Hey, what about the party on the weekend? Yeah. Hey, where are you traveling to next? Wonderful. So when you integrity date, you want to shift from the external to the internal. You want to shift from having superficial conversations to having meaningful conversations. So meaningful questions, like I said, are these amazing questions. We're going to actually practice meaningful questions today in the workshop, the speed dating workshop. You guys are all welcome to join, because these questions are really going to help you determine quickly. I'll give you an example of a meaningful question. For someone, it might be, are you interested in getting married and having kids? For another person, it might be, are you committed to personal growth? For another person, it might be a question about politics or money or something else. I want you to just think for a moment for you what that question would be, or what kind of questions you need to know. And the best way to know what those questions are is look at your past relationships. What were the things that you're like, oh, I wish I asked that? Or gosh, what do I need to know if this is my person? Those are the meaningful questions. But here's the thing, it's not just about what the questions are, that's the first part. The second part is, how do you ask these questions? Because sometimes it can sound like an interview. In fact, I'm going to pick someone from the audience in the front. A gentleman, I need a volunteer. From the front, right there? All right. You can stay there. It's okay. I'll just ask you there. So your name is? Safa? So Safa, here's the thing. I'm going to ask you a meaningful question, and I would love for you to respond and actually tell me how you feel after I've told you this question. So Safa, I'm in my 40s, and I really want to get married and have babies. And I don't want to waste my time. So I just want to know up front, like, what's your deal? Like, are you looking to settle down? Are you not? Like, where are you at?
Maybe take it just a little slow.
Safa, how did it feel when I asked you that question?
It felt like I was liking your vibe, but that question was like, wow.
Aggressive. It felt aggressive, and
Yes,
suddenly
it felt aggressive.
he had a block up. Like, whoa, literally you could see him have a block up. And this happens a lot, not just with women, men, but women too. But a lot of us women have asked this question. Come on, you have, right? Or you wanted to ask it, weren't sure how to ask it. All right, so it is a meaningful question for someone who might be in that stage of her life. Her biological clock may be clicking. This is important. She wants to invest her time with someone who's on the same path. But that's just not the way to ask, because that sounds like an interview. So now let's ask that meaningful question in a different way. And I like to call this way an invitation. And an invitation requires 3 steps. The first step is an intention. What's your intention? What do you really want to know? The second step is vulnerability. How can I share my heart with this person so I can create a safe space for them to connect? And the third part is respect. How can I ask this question in a way it's respectful and not intrusive? So, may I ask that question?
Sure.
So, Safa, I'm really excited to be talking to you today. And, I know that you've done a lot of personal growth, and so have I. And I wanted to share that I came out of a 10-year relationship, and I took some time to heal. And during that journey, I realized, gosh, I would love a partner in growth. I'm finally at that place where I feel like I can give and receive, and I'd love to share that with someone. And I would love to find a partner to share my life with. And I love children. And I'm finally at that place where I feel like I can give. And I'm just curious, where are you at in your journey?
Can we get married now?
Gotta put a ring on it. Just for a moment, how did that feel? Did you guys like that? How did that feel? Way better. Safa, how did you feel?
Yeah, I felt I could relate to that. You know, I could see that you're wanting to create what you wanted to create, and I was picturing myself in that vision.
And suddenly, the same question, the exact same question, Safa didn't want to answer it before, and he felt aggressive. He's like, I'm out of here. Now he's like, oh my God, let me open my heart and tell you about my healing journey and everything I've been through. And yeah, let's have babies together. No, but in all seriousness, that's the beauty of an invitation. And that's how you integrity date. And that's why dating becomes so simple and fun, because once you have the skills to actually communicate your truth, stand in integrity, and ask respectfully, you create such an incredible safe space. Safa, I'm pretty sure you felt like you wanted to share.
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. I would love to go through more examples, but we don't have that much time, and I really want to get into self-love. That was actually the number one pillar, but I saved it to the end, saved the best for last. So self-love is the foundation for everything in your life. You can only love others to the extent that you love yourself. And I want to tell you a secret. That the greatest love affair you're going to have in this life is with yourself. You're going to be with yourself till death do you part. You're going to be with yourself through sickness and health. You are going to be with yourself till the end. But so many of us don't treat ourselves as our great love. We're so excited to make a vow to somebody else. We're so excited to make a commitment, a lifelong commitment to someone else. But have you made that commitment to yourself? We treat others with so much more love than we treat ourselves. How many of you have this inner dialogue or this critic in your mind that says, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, or I don't do that? It's not a loving voice. When you love yourself, you have this amazing cheerleader that's cheering you on. I'm fabulous. I'm amazing. I deserve love. I can give love. Self-love is so important. And instead of us seeking a relationship to fill that void, to be loved, you want to fill yourself up with that and invite a partner that can meet you for the standard that you've set for yourself. Right? Isn't that a better way? Yeah. So one thing I'd like to do right now is to do something very special with you. I want you to marry yourself. Yeah. I'd like everyone to marry themselves. You probably didn't think you were going to come to Neelam's session this morning and get married. See, single people, this is what happens. So I'd like everyone to rise, please. And I want you to know that you are the greatest loves of your lives. That you deserve your love more than anyone. And today, I would like you to take some vows with me. So please put your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath. And I want you to drop from your head to your heart. And repeat after me. I will always be my best friend. I will love and honor myself for the divine being that I am. I will treat myself with kindness and compassion. I will forgive myself for all my mistakes. I will never abandon myself again. I will show up in full integrity. And I will honor my time and energy. I will be available and open for love. I take a deep breath. Congratulations, you just married yourself. You are the greatest loves of your life. And now you are ready to integrity date. I want to thank you all for coming here today. It's been such an honor to be here and to share this with you. And for those of you who are interested in connecting with all these incredible singles, we've got a speed dating event downstairs at 2 o'clock. So we're going to put all this into practice. And thank you for coming. And I also want to say, hold on, before we go, what happens usually after a marriage or a ceremony? We celebrate. So we need some music. Come on, let's get everyone dancing. Woo! Thank you guys for coming.